Other yellow hat guy here, back with another video. Mad late, but finally saw Thor Love and Thunder. Okay, I meant to see this in theaters. I just saw some lack of responses, if you will, on the movie. Now, the last Thor, Thor Ragnarok, was really good. Probably the best in the franchise, and this one right here, it does not supersede that one for me. Here's why. First off, we'll start out with the plot of this movie. We last left Thor where he teamed up with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, spoilers, if you haven't seen the other Avengers movies, these Marvel movies, the book end of that was Avengers Endgame. You had some characters written out of the story. Marvel is looking to either recast these characters or, just have replacement versions with the same kind of move set, power set in the next coming movies. For example, you've got Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. If you've seen Endgame, you know what happens there. You've got Captain America, but Chris Hemsworth, who's been there for, since the very first Thor movie and the Avengers movie, he doesn't appear to be going away. So we have him teaming up with the Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's like, what's next for Thor? The trailer shows you that Natalie Portman will return. Jane Foster will return just as she did in her comic book narrative where she becomes Thor. Some of the commentary was, you got Lady Thor, female Thor, all kinds of jokes I won't say on here on top of that, and the movie kind of pokes fun at it. So you got Tessa Thompson as Valkyrie. She returns. And along with Natalie Portman, they form some kind of team. I wasn't sure how it was going to go. Where it'd be like, Thor against the other Thor, but it's like you find out it's Jane Foster. Why would you beef with that? So, like in the comics, Thor is doing his own thing and maybe doesn't feel as worthy, whereas here's Jane Foster's turn. The caveat is, while she gets these powers, she also has cancer, terminal cancer. And I felt like the movie just shoehorned that in there. They didn't really develop it as much, but, you've only got so long in this movie. The key of this movie is Christian Bale's character. The word Bale in itself means something malevolent, something wicked. And I look at him as Batman, but I also remember his exploit where he was going off on some crew members for not doing what I guess he wanted to do, maybe what they were supposed to be doing. I don't remember, but I felt that energy as he was Gore the God Butcher. Here, this character sent chills down my spine because everything that he was saying wasn't inherently from a bad place, if that makes sense. This guy was a devout worshiper of the gods who were supposed to protect him and his family, and they didn't. And the one thing he wanted was for his daughter to survive. She was the one person in this incident that was not shown mercy, and he had to live the last of his kind, and the gods were simply just standing back like, hey, you're like inconsequential. We've got more important people that we favor over you and your ilk. So this allowed him to have this mentality of, hey, I want vengeance now. Now what the movie does is it merges some different storylines. Obviously you have the Jane Foster Thor storyline mixed with Thor being unworthy, but he wasn't actually unworthy. He just didn't feel worthy. So they took that story there from the comic books, and then Gore the God Butcher, they took a storyline there. So he has the sword called All Black. This sword is not necessarily what he should have. He's supposed to actually have remnants of the symbiote god Null. So that they may not ever show Null in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but who knows? Maybe Sony does their own thing with him. But this guy, the symbiote god, is where Venom and all these other symbiotes across the universes come from. And they're sentient where they know what's going on in different universes, different realms. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with Tom Hardy's Venom going forward. So I digress. I give you all that comic book knowledge to, I guess, give you my overall opinion on the movie because I knew what these storylines were going for, and some of the things kind of feel forced knowing the backstory. So maybe that doesn't matter for you, the viewer who may not have read the comics. And again, I'm assuming maybe you didn't read the comics, but it doesn't matter. On its own, you can feel like some of this stuff felt a little rushed, and that they were taking Thor places that aren't necessarily expected. And I'll just get into it. So you have Gore the God Butcher. They develop him very well. He was the best part of the movie. He's going after all these low-level gods, and then he's going to make his way on up the ranks as he gains power. He wants to get to Eternity. Eternity is a character who he's able to grant you a wish. Think of Shen or the dragon in Dragon Ball Z. You get all 7 balls, you make a wish. Think of it like that. Gore just needs a way to get there, and Thor has a way with his Stormbreaker axe. He's been using that while Mjolnir has sought out someone else worthy, who is Jane Foster, right? So Jane, the more she uses the hammer, the sicker it's making her, and eventually kills her. And she's got a choice to make. Do I keep doing this to play hero, or do I, just allow this cancer to take over me? And I think you kind of know what's going to happen when I say that. So it all comes to a head where Thor seeks out Zeus and says, hey, if we had this lightning bolt army and everything, maybe we could take out Gore before he reaches all these other gods. And Zeus, played by Russell Crowe, was like, nah, not a big deal. He doesn't know where our location is. We're safe. Let everybody else fend for themselves. Natural order things there. So in that state, Thor became enraged, and there's some hijinks there, some comedy. Ladies, or maybe guys, if you're into seeing Chris Hemsworth in the buck, there's an opportunity there. Not full on, but it's there. There, I said it. Maybe that makes the movie better for you. Maybe it's like, I don't want to see that. I don't know. Don't really care. But I remembered that because there was a moment where when it happened, you were like, okay, so it's the ladies' turn, right? And they quickly were like, nope, we're going to play ball with whatever's happening here because you're not stripping us of our clothes. But they had some of these goddesses or whatever faint as they saw Thor nude. I thought that was funny, though. So while Zeus does not help Thor, they manage to get his lightning bolt and go after Gore. Gore has a trap laid. He knows that Thor cares about those who are on New Asgard. New Asgard, well, Asgard was destroyed in Ragnarok, so there's a place on Earth where all the Asgardian children and the residents who survived stay there. And Gore kidnaps a lot of those children as bait to get Thor and whoever else is going to team up with him to say, hey, give me the axe and I'll let the kids live. But he probably would have, I don't know, maybe he wouldn't have. He didn't seem all that evil, but he was clearly the bad guy in this movie. So they do what they need to do to take him out, but the plot twist here is they fail. They actually fail. Jane, knowing that she's wounded and weak, Valkyrie suffers a fatal blow, and Thor knows he's got to do what he can to stop Gore. And while he's about to get struck down, Jane does what you felt like she was going to do, be the hero, step in and save Thor. And it had to be that way because you can't just introduce this character and have her be saved. But what they do is they show you she actually sacrifices herself. So you introduce this character only for her to be killed off. That rubbed me the wrong way, but that's what they were going for in the story. I didn't feel like Natalie Portman was going to sign up to do multiple Marvel movies, but who knows? I don't know. The end of this movie says Thor will return. And you learn that Gore gets to make his wish. And instead of making a malevolent one to destroy all the gods, he sees that Thor is fighting for love. He's not fighting for necessarily selfish reasons, and Gore is becoming what he, despised in a sense. He sees this, and in the compassion there, he wishes for his daughter to return, and although he's dying, he wants Thor to take care of him. So that's what happens. Love and thunder. Love being Thor, thunder being this character that Thor, as now a father figure, is going to raise. So I'm not sure how this will play out. I don't remember this in any comics, but it should be interesting because, like I said, it says Thor will return. There are some end credit scenes, and I'm sure you all know this by now. The movie is available on Disney Plus, so go see that. I won't spoil those, even though I've told you the entire movie. So what did I think overall? I would give this movie 3 Earthworm Gems out of 5. It wasn't great. I felt it had the potential to be a 4, but it didn't live up to that. The cinematics, the fight scenes are all fantastic. I just didn't feel like they developed Natalie Portman's character as best as they could. I didn't care for Russell Crowe as Zeus. I felt that was very silly. But it is what it is. They tried to be comical there. But Thor will return. I don't know if that means the Natalie Portman Thor or Chris Hemsworth Thor. I'm betting it'll be him. The way the Marvel Universe is being set up is like they're rebuilding characters. You've got different characters replacing other characters, and then you've got some people who are no longer with us, so those characters are being kind of written out, and you've got other directions where things are going where they can have new Avengers, so and then young Avengers and Thunderbolts and different things like that. So let me know your thoughts. I hope that you enjoyed this, but again, 3 Earthworm Gems out of 5. Other Yellow Hat Guy is out. See you in the next one. Captain Sensation!